birth of Christ. We can get into all sorts of semantics about when and exactly what date and, who was prego and who wasn't. But this is a Merry Christmas edition, a little bit early. Want to wish everybody the finest. And, don't this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of this stuff. I mean, really, come on. It's okay to have money in your pocket and give gifts any day of the year, any day. So let's just keep that in mind. I think, get creative with your gifts. I've got a brother. His gift to me and my gift to him is that we don't give gifts for birthdays or anything like that. It's a great feeling, especially when you forget. So it's wonderful to be able to do that. But stress the importance of Christmas as more of an individual religious thing and a family thing, not a retail thing. Although it's, wow, I got to tell you, over here, and I was warned about this. One of our executives warned me before I came over that September is when you start hearing the music over here. And I mean, dun, 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 dun. In September, folks, that's not cool. I think that there should be kind of like a 2-week period where everybody gets festive and, they can let them go crazy and help out the retailers and do what they need to. But, man, this is just nuts, September. What's going on with that? So, yeah, if you're in a mall or something around here, they're playing Christmas music. I mean, since way back then. So, we got to just focus on that. I'm glad that the 2-week thing is
the mic. Go to filters. Filters. Because you see that it's got a lot of noise, so turn on the noise suppression.
Okay, so Phil's got a cold.
How busy?
Yeah, so he's not going to be able to call. He's not able to talk.
That's normal.
Everybody's sick now.
No, every time I came here, like 1 week after he gets sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because anytime, like when I went to Vegas, anywhere, because you're just being exposed to new pathogens.
Well, and you get shoved in a tin can with 300 people.
Recycled. If you need to, you can restart the whole deal. But, and Discord is connecting or not? I think it's at the beginning. It's getting lazy. There's gremlins. No. Oh, yeah. No, please. Let's do a ping here. So go to the terminal. Ping nptec.com. No H. Oh. Okay, so we can see our server. So there's a connection. That's good. YouTube is
Are they after us again?
Can you see the Goldwater webpage? The Chrome is oh, there we go. YouTube issues. Although this isn't loading either.
I wonder if they're actually doing it. Syphilis, gonorrhea, scabies, Susan Wentworth has scabies. Wentworth, yeah. Yeah, Butterworth. Butterworth.
It's like you can make any name Jewish.
Copy. We're back, folks. We are back. I brought some bugs with me. I brought bugs. I don't know. We don't know. Most of you who have seen us before have technical difficulties. Flip the coin. We don't like to blame folks that we don't like to pass the blame to anyone, but man, I'll tell you, this YouTube thing is really interesting. May want to talk to Redfoot about that. He's got his own philosophy, his own side of things, and Lord help us if he's right. So let's get back to the news here. This is, again, you're back with the Christmas special. Christmas, we say it over here. Proud to say it. We're not scared. So we're talking about football and the NFL. I think it'd be great. I think that the XFL is awesome. I didn't know much about it, and I just saw a couple of little games that were going on, and some clips. I think it's really one interesting thing would be to plant some landmines on that field, some live landmines. That would really, really spice things up. Just randomly place them around the field and see what happens. Give the players weapons. That would be kind of cool. Awesome. You know, maybe a little gladiator action. Maybe have a little Running Man action in there. Put some parolees or give some people who are sentenced to life in prison the opportunity to play. Definitely see some people with gusto out there if their prize is freedom. So yeah, we should mix it up. I'd love to see the NFL really kind of just have to work to get the fans back. I'd really love that. So that's one of the stories that we had going on earlier this evening, or actually last night or this morning over here in Manila. We also had okay, we've covered a couple of things here. Just going through, we've got these. We're starting to see a bunch of gun deaths. So you know, the latest one is a grandson is shot after arguing with his grandfather, and somebody gets shot. You tend to see a lot of these around the holidays, and I'm wondering, is it the reporting or is it the numbers? I want to see some straight up numbers. And anyone want to call in that knows a little bit more about this? I mean, that has the stats on gun violence, and if there is more gun violence or violence. I know obviously there's more suicide this time of year. It seems like there's a little more violence than usual, especially in places like Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit. Big surprise there. We had an article recently about Baltimore. The crime stats there are just going crazy, and the public is finally saying, hey, you know, what are you doing? What is the deal with this? And of course, you've got a politically correct black female mayor. I'm pretty sure I was corrected about this before, that is running the show over there. If I'm still correct about that, I'll have to look that up. But typically, you have these politically correct people like Ed Lee, and I mean, I didn't think Ed Lee was terrible considering the climate of San Francisco until it really came down to it. People just trusted that he was hardworking and a decent mayor who kept his nose clean. And that's, of course, until we all found out that this guy who hates guns so much that he'll ban anything that comes across the desk, or approve anything, or approve a fund, okay, for anything. There's a couple of things I want to take a break, just a sideline on right now, and talk about. First of all, here's a man, Ed Lee, who has been mayor forever, San Francisco, and he finally gets busted. Now, he's not totally busted, but here's a guy who he is involved with his homeboy, Shrimp Boy, in Chinatown, and is dealing in automatic weapons in Sacramento. And we're talking about massive quantities of automatic weapons. This is a guy whose head, he's every constituent he has practically hates guns. They don't even want cops to have guns. They've done things that are so ridiculous, like anything that sounds bad they ban, like a hollow point bullet. Wow, a hollow point bullet. Well, let me tell you something. There are a lot of really, really good reasons, and cops can't even use them now. Okay, cops cannot use hollow point bullets. And there's some very good reasons why they should be in certain areas, okay? In urban areas. Because a hollow point bullet is going to have less of a capability of going through somebody and killing the person that behind them. So shooting somebody, or actually, you want the bullet to stop at what you're shooting and destroy a bunch of stuff. I mean, that's the whole point. You want to stop them. And a hollow point bullet mushrooms out on impact and tends to do that. It tends not to penetrate as well as a fully jacketed round. So, but it sounds bad, you know. It's like semi-automatic, you know. Do you know what I mean, they'll refer to semi-automatic weapons when an automatic weapon is being shown and clearly it's automatic, simply because semi-automatic, gas-operated, semi-automatic sounds bad. It just sounds bad. Anything having to do with firearms that is, you know, something you don't understand, just ban it. Just ban it. And so here's Ed Lee as a gun dealer banning hollow point bullets that are, you know, could be used in a safe way, as opposed to a lower velocity round, a smaller grain round, and yet he's dealing in automatic weapons. I mean, just nuts, this guy. So when it comes down to it, these guys are hypocrites all the way across the board. They're in it for themselves. They've lost sight of whatever, if they ever did have some sort of thought of public service, it is long gone. Long gone. And I think that we really do need to root out these people and take a look at how these people are doing financially. We need to audit a lot of these people. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever have you, all of them. And I've got another thing that I was thinking about, and I think I brought this up on a show or two before. If you're serving the public, you should be more responsible, and if you screw up, you should be more culpable. And here's what I propose. And this isn't just for politicians. I mean, think about it across the board. If you are a public servant, meaning if you are a police officer, if the public is putting trust in you and they are paying you to do something and you screw up, you should pay twice. You should get, if it's a fine, you should pay double, even if it's a parking ticket. If it's time in a county jail or state prison or federal prison, you do double. Okay? And that includes priests and any institutionalized religion that is classified, that is not paying taxes, that is getting a tax break. Those folks, everyone, should be paying double in either time or fines or public scrutiny, obviously. You're there to serve the public, and when you misuse the trust of the public, there should be a penalty on top of that, and just make it double. Just double it. So a cop that gets a DUI, sorry, he's going away for quite a while. These folks should not be getting paid to take advantage of the public. I know that's a tall order, and it's so hard to root everybody out and drain the swamp, but come on. We got to start somewhere here. I mean, start somewhere. Start with a politician that's honest. Let's find one of those. Let's see if we can find one. And maybe he can shame somebody into signing a bill that is so overtly obvious that all of them have to sign it. Like, I promise not to have sex with children if I'm a priest. Have somebody sign that. If I do, I'm going to get really, really messed up. Oh, he brought out the first class stuff. First class. Now, you know, I'm turning into a prima donna here because of my great fame here at the Goldwater. I'm actually ordering people to get beverages for me. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Where did you find this? Okay. Actually, I did forget to bring my beverages, and thank you, Toby, for bringing some water here. They do have Pellegrino in the Philippines, huh? Check that out. So it is not just a bunch of savages running around on an island without Pellegrino. They do have some very, very fine, tasty, what we would consider hoity-toity things here, which is great. But it tastes a little bit different here. You know, things are a little bit different. You know, last night I had a can of chili because I was just missing a regular can of chili. You wouldn't be able to find that. We went to what's the equivalent of Costco. I think they are owned by Costco. It's a S&R over here, the warehouse store. So not being able to find mustard anywhere, I have to carry mustard with me, unlike Hillary Clinton doing the hot sauce thing. I'm proud to say I carry mustard, okay, and I'm not embarrassed to use it. So we went there to stock up on goods that, man, you just can't do without, mustard being one of them. And got a can of chili, and I got to tell you, it just doesn't taste the same. It's the same brand. It's probably made in the same factory, and chili just doesn't taste the same here. I don't know why. And I tried the with beans, without beans, with Tabasco, without Tabasco. Now it's hard because it's really hard to find quality cheddar cheese here. That's rough, finding quality cheddar cheese. They do have a couple of mild things that you can buy, but you ain't gonna find any Tillamook over here, or something, So, I mean, you really have to go to a specialty shop. Thank you, sir, for the Pellegrino here. Wet the whistle. And we do have hey. Now this is new. I don't think we've featured this particular. What is this about? Come on, folks. Hope in a bottle. Now, somebody is just saying, "Hey, it's just a bottle. I got to taste this hope. I got to taste this because it's just purified drinking water." Nothing really special about it. But they've got the typical liberal kind of happy emblem here that's like, we're one with the world. You see that? It's just, and it all has soft round edges. Have you noticed that? I wonder, I mean, if there's liberal font, there's got to be like total liberal font, just off the wall, progressive font. How about, oh man, yeah. But you'll notice, and it's like children holding hands around them, and it's hope in a bottle. Drink hope, give hope. Nothing else here. There might be some sort of bullshit about these folks giving away something. But these are the people, I guarantee you, these are the people that are doing stuff like this. If you look at this thing and they say, oh, we're going to donate 2% of whatever I bet you anything that not even that 2% is going. It's a total scam. And liberals, this is a liberal item right here. So I'm sad to see that this has infiltrated the Philippines, because most people are just like, oh, well, that's kind of cute. They're not buying it probably for the taste of it. But it's probably more expensive than Willits or Absolute or any of the other fine brands of water that we've got over here. See, now this is what real people drink. Absolute. You get yourself a good liter 2 bottle, and it's just purified drinking water. It's nothing hoity-toity, and I guarantee you this is going to be 3 times more expensive per ounce than this guy, because this is supposed to make me feel good. They're all holding hands all the way around. Now the only difference is that we do have one here that's got dreadlocks, so I'm guessing that with their color scheme, that's the black one right there. I'm guessing, because you gotta make sure we're one world and we're all holding hands. No, I want water that hydrates me best to get me back out on the battlefield and start segregating society back to where it belongs. Okay, let's just do it. Get it done with. No, I say that in jest a little bit, but why do we have to be integrated? I mean, who came up with that idea? Why do we? I mean, civility civility. Not killing people is the first thing you start with. I mean, instead you're having to integrate, well, it's okay, but they're just like everybody else except they kill us, you know? We should be embracing that culture. Right. Let's have Hannibal Lecter over for dinner. You know, this is nuts. So, yeah, I bet you knew I was going to go off on this, man. Especially the kid, the Afro kid. That's, see there? You got to have that one. Oh, there's another one here. And I wonder if there's a transgender here. That's not really going over very well over here. Though there's a young kid who's got a little Walkman. That's how they put him out. Yeah, this is really interesting. We might have to, when I'm able to get some regular reading glasses on. Of course, they make this so small that it's impossible to read if there is some sort of promise behind this water. You know, I think we ought to just do that. We ought to turn the Goldwater into just a totally touchy-feely, across the board, you know. Now the thing is that we do have people on all continents, if you're counting Redfoot from Antarctica, because he's, you know, technically he definitely could be claimed from being from Antarctica. He certainly knows enough about it. But yeah, we're across the board here, every continent, our folks in our organization. So speaking of hoity-toity, oh wow, look at what we got here. Now that was one thing that I did go to S&R for, and it's very hard to find here, are capers. You either love them, you hate them. I happen to love them. And wow, again, Toby is just coming through with this capers. Now we need to ask him where he found this. Connie's Kitchen capers. I don't know where these come from. Product of the Philippines. Now how is that working? So they must import the capers, and it looks like they've got them with. Oh, this is okay. Now wait, this is smoked herring with capers, and it's packaged in the Philippines with by Connie's Kitchen. Interesting stuff here. Okay, we're gonna have to maybe open this up later and try that. I think we left that here before, didn't we? Didn't we try this before? We were going to try it, but did we? Should we try it? Try it. We should. Need a pencil? Yeah, you know what? Why don't we try it at the end of the show in case I get sick? How about that? We'll give that a go. But I think I left this here, didn't I? You gave this to me before? Or okay, yeah. That was a while ago. So, awesome. We'll be trying that later. That'll be cool. Yeah. Just we'll do it towards the end in case I get sick. All right. So, back to Christmas and some of the stories that you're hearing. You're going to see a lot of family violence stuff. You're going to see and probably they're going to be talking about a lot of gun violence. I find it interesting that they're talking about, oh, well, it's all these guns that are killing people. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't know if you guys have been reading the Goldwater it's about every 2 weeks or so, we've got a story or a spotlight on black crime. Now, whoa, we can't talk about that because it involves race, you know, and we're all supposed to be colorblind here. Holding hands with hope, okay? Hope you don't kill me. Please, you're black. You're not supposed to have a gun and kill me. You're supposed to be nice and wonderful. No, that's not the case in the inner cities. And just, I mean, come on. Of course, I'm not saying that all black people are criminals and all of this. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's so, you got to have a room temperature IQ. I mean, seriously, folks, to not understand that police need to profile, okay? If you're looking for a black male that's shooting people, go find a black male that's shooting people, all right? Don't pretend that you don't see the color, and don't tell the public that he's there's no skin color. You know, it just is so stupid. And, you know, I wonder, it'd be terribly hard because the police are so reluctant to report any of this. But we really should get some statistics on the number of people who have died because police did not inform the public of the race of an offender they were looking for. I mean, let's just, how many people have died? And you know there have been, simply because they're not reporting who they should be looking for because they're scared. There's some sort of public outcry. When is this going to stop? Or is it? I mean, how far is it going to go? Am I going to have to, are we going to eventually have to get some sort of one world blood transfusion that makes us all shape shift into some sort of homogeneous creature? You know, is that what it takes? Is there, you know, all our genitalia will melt away because you can't be a male, female, you can't be trans, you can't. I mean, the bottom line is that the true goal of this is to not have an opinion at all. And really, if you look at it, I mean, that's really the true goal. And the true goal of like the hardest core environmentalists is to erase all human existence on Earth. You know, that humans are just so terrible for the environment. We shouldn't be here. Okay. Sorry, I'm an animal too, except, you know, we hunt, okay? We've done some pretty stupid things, but hopefully people learn, you know, and there is, you know, pollution to the environment that's obvious. But the extremism is where it's coming in, and it's almost like this rubber stamping of how extreme can we get. It's like, it's not cool to be gay anymore. It's not even cool to be transsexual anymore. Now you're identifying yourself as a Filipino. Now, I'll tell you what, I need the opinion of a Filipino here. Do we have, I mean, I don't know if you saw this story, K2, about there's this guy, kind of girl, American, who decides that he just wakes up one day and says, I feel like I'm Filipino. Yeah. And so he wants to, when he fills out his applications to go to college, when he fills out any student loans, any aid, anything, and he goes to court, and the state allowed him to do this, claim himself to be a Filipino because he's never been here, doesn't speak Tagalog, he's just, okay, doesn't that piss you off? Yeah. And I mean, and really most of the time Filipinos, when you ask their opinion, it's like, I very rarely see people get, fuck, I'm upset, you know. It's like, so if I get a reaction here, I mean, you can imagine there's got to be, I'd be just insulted. Because, you know, let's say that you're going to college, that guy's going to take your spot, or funding, you know, he's going to be in line because he's not only Filipino, now he's got another gender or identity crisis that's going on. So now he's a transgender Filipino, which, man, all the money's going to go to him. So, yeah, I'd say just take him down over to, let's see, what's a really bad neighborhood around here? Tondo. All right. Take him over to Tondo and set him loose and see how Filipino he is, huh? Let's see how much, yeah. Let's do it. Actually, you know what? Let's all chip in, our Christmas present. Chip in and just, we'll invite this person over, this Filipino over to visit their homeland, right? For the first time. And, yeah, I'd be willing to chip in for a one-way ticket. One way. Okay. Because you ain't going back. Well, and that's the other thing. This person should just renounce their citizenship and apply. I mean, that's the best thing, actually. Renounce their citizenship and apply to the consulate, Philippine consulate, they would just laugh him out of the building, or him or her. I don't know. I saw a picture. It looks like, I don't know what it is. It's, I mean, anything to get attention with this. It's just crazy. So not only that, but we had one that's just even worse. This is crazy. This is, speaking of the special people, how special can you get? All right, transgender is now, you know, you got your reality show if you get transgendered and all of this. And I wonder how many, you know, I don't think that you should be able to prove, like, if you're identifying as a man or a woman or a trans or whatever you're doing, if you're no longer identifying with a man, I'm sorry, man. If you want that little mark on your driver's license, if you just don't want male, let's put it that way, figure something else out later. But if you're no longer male, somebody's going to have to make sure you cut it off. And both it's the C to B ratio, okay? Both the penis and the testicles gotta go if you're no longer a man. All right. If you want to walk into a bathroom other than men, all right, cut it off, lop those bad boys off, and you know, send them over to the, I don't know, somebody who needs them, somebody who wants to attach something. I don't know, but here's one that really, really freaked me out. I mean, this is terrible, absolutely terrible. We've got, and this is, again, last about 12 hours ago, we got this one come in. In Arizona, it's not just one family member of this family that is decided to become transvestite. The whole family is transvestite. The whole entire Arizona family is transvestite. Home of John McCain. Okay. And one of our reporters who has a penchant for just speaking his mind, Red Pill, really wrote this up. I highly recommend this article. One big, happy, sick, tranny family, an entire Arizona family, parents and kids, turn transgender. Oh, man. This article is great. Mental illness is a hell of a disease. Okay. I mean, just say it like you mean it. And this is just incredible. It's you're telling me that this is just, what chance did these kids ever have? Was there a slight chance that these kids could have turned out or chose to be heterosexual? I mean, no. So the father's a man, the wife is a woman, and the kids are going Shirley, Austin. The daughter is the son, and the son is becoming the daughter. That's what the whole deal. The whole deal. So, and there, you see a picture of these folks. I mean, I don't know what kind of freak show is going on here, but it is. Yes, I'm being insensitive to transgenders because I think it's sick to not give your children a single solitary chance of being heterosexual. Terrible. I mean, again, not something for the federal government to decide, but folks in Arizona, really, come on. Do you really think that that is something that should be occurring? I mean, I would say that stay local. I mean, you want to do that in San Francisco, move there. Move there. You'll be encouraged to do it. And it's pretty much you just want to give up on it. But, wow, I'm telling you, this is just crazy. So, there's just no chance for these kids. And I think that child welfare should be involved in something like this. And again, locals should be deciding this. And I think most sensible people who don't want their children to be abused, or children in their community to be abused by mentally unstable parents, this shouldn't be any different than any other form of child abuse, including sexual abuse. It has to do with sexual abuse. And you know, I saw this article in the Chronicle, and I think I talked about it before, but this is just it's so apropos right now. And it's a full spread in the San Francisco Chronicle, talking about how great it is for this couple who at the earliest of age, okay, even when the kid was wearing diapers, started dressing the boy, it's a boy, in dresses and bringing over their multicultural progressive friends, and basically getting high and laughing at the kid because, oh, he looks so cute in girls' dresses. So they just entertain themselves dressing this boy as a girl. And the kid, obviously from birth, learned that he was getting more attention by dressing as a girl. And this continued all the way through until it's time for the kid to go to preschool and start actually socializing with other children, and you know, basically start some form of education, which is God knows what's happening on that realm otherwise, what else that kid has been taught. But here's the saddest part, is that the article was just embracing the entire thing, and how wonderful it is that we should do this to give our children a choice. That's what they're calling it, a choice. For a 6-year-old to be, now it's your first day of school, do you want to dress as a boy or a girl? Wink, wink. What do you want to do? Well, of course, I want to dress as a girl. And now you've basically just psychologically manipulated a kid because it's a trend happening right now. Probably irreversibly screwed that kid up. And God knows what's going on even in San Francisco at school. That, you know, I had enough problems when I was a kid. I had to wear a patch over my eye, and it never really bothered me too much. You know, kids would call you a pirate or something like that, and I had to wear it for a little while. And you know, that's something that, it's like you kind of get, that's something you can get over. It depends on your personality. Fortunately, I didn't have it too bad. So, but man, can you imagine going to school dressed as a girl, or as a girl dressed as a boy? Oh man, at that age, come on, this is ridiculous. It's out of hand, out of control. Just people really need to slow down on this whole thing. So, wow, a whole family. Let's do it. Okay, what's going to happen when their grandparents, you know, what are their grandchildren going to look like? When the trend comes around that trannies aren't popular anymore, is it going to be popular to mutate yourself, like to sexually mutilate yourself, or to have some sort of gene therapy that turns you into a frogman or turns you into a lizard? You know, you have gene therapy, and you know, the parents identify as reptiles. So, you know, maybe in 30 years, they can go see a doctor in Brazil and give the kid gene therapy and put a little reptile in him, because that's the way they identify their child as before birth or during conception or whatever kind of freak show they want. And now they're going to have a lizard baby. I mean, because where else are you going to go? You know, I mean, you're going to have to go into the animal kingdom, because, you know, every single flavor of human is basically kind of taken up. You got identify as this. You're going to either, I mean, I hope people just start identifying themselves as inanimate objects. Like, I identify myself as a stair, as the third stair over there, and that's me. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to meet, Toby, people that have identified themselves as animals, furries, folks who like to be petted. But that's something that I don't think that they're doing in an everyday situation. I think that's something they just indulge in. But for them, it has to be taken public, semi-public. You have to have someone there. So, yeah, that's a big question for anyone that maybe want to call in. I thought I saw Redfoot pop up here on some form of message. Let me see if we have. Oh, here we go. And okay. Well, maybe we've got maybe Redfoot will call in later. I'm not sure if he's available. And unfortunately, our dear friend and co-host Phil is he's under the weather right now. So yeah, we were talking about how you can. It's normal when you shove yourself in a tin can with 300 people that are not from your country, you're gonna catch something. So we're wishing well to Phil, and appreciate you listening in, though, Phil. So we'll chime this up next week with a good dose of Phil, because we really love his opinion over here. This is awesome. I mean, so great to have him over here. So if there is anyone that wants to call in, I mean, I'm really curious. I'm racking my brain here as to what is next. What I mean, really. It's got to be a mutant form of something. I mean, people are going to have to, it's not going to be good enough to just identify. They're going to have to start manipulating human beings, because it's a freak show. So you do have the people that want to look like Barbie. You've got the plastic surgeon people. I wonder where, there's a whole list of people. There are people that Angelina Jolie has been in the news lately for people trying to replicate her, and unfortunately somebody this one went viral. It was a photo of a kind of a zombie Angelina Jolie, kind of like one of these plastic surgeries gone wrong, and it turns out that was a hoax. That was a hoax. The person really didn't go and do it. But wanted attention nonetheless, and it worked. So, but people are doing it. The Ken and Barbie people. There's a whole group of people that are liquefying their corneas and turning them black, and turning into vampires and fangs and all sorts of permanent stuff. And you have to wonder. It's like some of these folks that get facial tattoos, you have to wonder, is there like any regret? Maybe, because it's a one-shot deal there. I mean, even if they try to get it removed, that's your face. People are going to really there's going to be something there, especially women that are doing this. Man, go figure. I mean, go figure. But outside of the wonders of plastic surgery can do, and I think some of these plastic surgeons need to be taken a look at, man. Come on, because I mean, there should be some kind of standard. I would think that I'm not saying a law, but basically they're doctors, and isn't it a doctor's first thing? Isn't it the first oath of a doctor is do no harm? And I submit to you that liquefying somebody's eye and injecting it just purely for cosmetic purposes, and this is a doctor, right? A surgeon who is doing this, really freaking these people up for no reason. I mean, if anything, even if there's no medical reason for it, any doctor, I mean, a guy who's an MD, who's a surgeon, should also say do no harm, and say, listen, this person might regret this when they're 70. Man, I don't know. I know that a lot of that would go on regardless, and people would be, don't try this at home, but they will. Man, I've seen some videos that I can't unsee about stuff like that. Wow. Some of this self-piercing and mutilation and all of that stuff. Wow. But do no harm, okay? With all of this, honestly, it's going to be down to a doctor to make that decision, and I think just any doctor that should be called doctor isn't going to be involved in something like that. probably a good reason that these things should happen out of the country. But yeah, I mean, now what's, you're going to have somebody that does this, that mutates themselves physically as a vampire, and now they want to be a kindergarten teacher. Okay? And they're going to sue the county because they can't get the job because they're discriminating against vampires because they identify against vampires. Listen, use some common sense. I don't want my kid going to preschool or kindergarten or first grade and have a frickin' vampire, some mutant, non-human. I wouldn't want my kid having a transgender teacher, okay? Under normal, like in theory, in general. Now, who knows? Maybe if I met somebody that was transgender and it was okay, but at such a young age, no. If that person is so confused about their own sexuality, how are they at an age like that supposed to be teaching kids, which I don't think they should be, about sex, but in general, the difference between boys and girls and the boys' bathroom, the general differences between boys and girls. I'm not talking even about sex. I'm talking about I'm saying that even throughout up until high school, I submit to you that a transgender person should be scrutinized in a very severe degree and possibly blatantly disqualified from the job, unless there's some sort of miraculous exception from somebody who clearly is having a problem understanding the difference between a man and a woman. Exposing them to our children and teaching them about sex. Wrong person. Okay, there are plenty of men and women out there qualified to do the job. Come on. Military, give me a break. Okay? There's such a small percentage. Okay, most of you've got these Chelsea Manning, and it worked. Look at Obama. You got this guy who's in prison for espionage, and all of a sudden he decides, well, I'm going to just become a girl, and it worked. He got a pardon. It works. Do you think anyone would have paid attention to Chelsea Manning if it was, and I don't even remember Chelsea Manning's name before Chelsea. There you have it. It worked. So it's attention and practicality. You're in prison, get out of jail free card. It comes with a price. But come on. The President of the United States did that. The former president, we should say. What were we calling him before? The ex-president. Yeah.
The disgraced former president.
Disgraced former president. The black guy. Yeah, that guy. That dude. Man. And it worked for Obama. Oh, awesome. Phil is calling in. Wow.
Hey, can you hear me?
Let's take a look here.
Hola.
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Oh, a little better now. I've got this 7-in-1 herbal powder tea. It's got ginger and turmeric, so it's soothing while killing the infection.
All right.
Apart from being really extra sniffly and occasionally going on a bit of a coughing jag, I'm way better than I felt 2 days ago when I literally could not speak and it hurt. It just really hurt. I never get sick, so this is new to me.
Well, you probably picked up some weird. I don't mean to scare you, but we exposed you to a hell of a lot of stuff, man.
Right. And here's the thing. Usually, I've got a great immune system because I take adaptogens and things every day. But part of the secret behind the immune system and adaptogens is, when you're stressed, your immune system fails. So, I got switch my time zone by 14 hours, number one, and then sleep dep and jet lag on top of that, airport exposure on 2 separate occasions for a full 24 hours, and so, of course, by the end of that, and yeah, like you said, when you're sitting in a Philippines airport, there's no telling what kind of crazy like Japanese encephalitis and stuff that my immune system was never meant to deal with in the first place. So yeah, I'm finally getting over, beginning to get towards the tail end of it, though, I believe. But yeah, I had to call in because it's a Christmas episode, so got to say Merry Christmas and all.
Absolutely.
But also the topic of the transracial thing has definitely really interests me as well. Like I was saying in the chat there's a feminist journal called Hypatia, and a huge controversy was started when Hypatia said, no, transracialism is a thing, and it's just the same as transgender. Like, once again, another case of the progressivism eats its own, because this created a huge schism there. And, like, I mean, like, it is kind of ridiculous. On the one hand, I can understand, like, okay, so this guy feels more comfortable around Filipino culture. Hey, I fell in love with Filipino culture and a Filipino girl while I was over there. That's great, you know, so might want to move back. I'm going to still be an American, though. I'll still be who and what I am, you know, just because I'm more comfortable listening to this music and eating this food. That doesn't, you know, you walk like a duck and you quack like a duck. That does not make you a duck. Even if you make yourself appear like a duck, you are not a duck.
So do you think geneticists are going to get in on the action? I was talking about, you know, obviously the plastic surgeons are there, and you got the identity people, and then you got the, you know, all of that.
We're gonna have transracial. We're going to have trans species. There was the guy in LA who wants to be a neutered, genderless alien, and fuck his whole body and face up, you know? And when these kids do this, when sad kids who've been hurt and picked on and wanted something to make them stick out and loved, see these kids who, by the way, like the little 8-year-old drag queen boy, yeah, they're getting all that attention they crave right now because they're the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Guess what? Next month, they're going to have gotten addicted to that. And they're going to not get the attention that they got before. Remember Chris Crocker? Leave Britney alone. You know, I mean, like, that kid has to live with that for the rest of his life, people. Oh, what's your name? Chris Crocker? Chris Crocker, the leave Britney alone guy? You know, it might be nice for a minute, but then for the rest of your life, you're that guy, that chick, that dragon, that whatever that is kind of a laughing stock to maybe a lot of people. It's just, it's not healthy for the kids. They see that, oh, this is a good way to, you know, this will be fun and I'll find all this love and stuff. No, probably not. Hold on a second. Oh, God.
Is anything crawling in your mucus?
Oh, my God. Yeah, moving? I saw, like, it looked like a centipede.
Oh, okay.
Except
that's
third
normal.
eye.
That's normal.
That kind of concerned me. I mean, centipedes crawling out of your mucus is one thing, but when they've got a third eye and the way it has holographic sheen, that kind of disturbs me as well.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine. It's just like it's a special sauce. You probably have like 8 different things right now. So, yeah. It's cool,
yeah, the
though,
guy
because
sitting next to me on the plane handed me, like, went to the bathroom and got a big handful of, like, you know, snot rags, and then the lady behind him handed me some tissues, and then the guy, and he's like, man, I feel contaminated, dude. I didn't know whether to give you a tissue or put a feed bag over your head.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad you're getting better. It seems like there's stuff going around. We've got a new writer that seems to be sick, but hopefully we'll check in with him later today, just to get him on board. Interesting guy from Vermont. We'll introduce him formally.
Niceness, yeah. Oh yeah. It seems like we've had a lot of changes just recently. I'm loving the forum. So you have a quick way to, like, just skim all the recent articles by release date. and you can see, what's kicking as far as comments go. And then we've got our search bar. Oh man, it's nice. We finally got a search bar,
Yeah.
so I don't have to go to Yandex or whatever your preferred searching tool is, and then the Goldwater.com space, and then whatever I'm searching for. Yeah.
No, I hear you, and we're working on audio as well. So
yes,
we're making sure we do it right here. But
yeah, I mean, like the
Goldwater
front page looks nice.
It will have
it doesn't
a
look naked up
button
at the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, just an unmute button. It'll just be constant streaming audio. Of course, we don't like default will be just the regular Goldwater, and then you can just unmute it, and we'll be either having live discussion from us or our friends, our cohorts around the world, or some of the really saucy stuff, but that'll be 24 hours a day. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're doing it right. It's just something to look forward to. We'll announce it formally here in a bit, but yeah, that'll be awesome. Maybe even get some I don't know. There's just so much to do with audio on it. So we've had some really good stuff. So it'll be fun going back through all of that. So yeah, all right. So man, geneticists most likely will be getting in on the game. I wonder what they're going to, I mean, certainly they're going to charge to do this. So
remember the video game Altered Beast? You're going to see those guys on every street one day.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Video game characters.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, with giant like lion's manes and dragon wings and scales. This is going to be an ordinary occurrence. Because you know what? Life isn't confusing enough. You know what? Yeah, things aren't difficult enough for a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So let's just make it where nothing is anything anymore and everything is everything.
Well, and then you know what? You might be able to weaponize it because there's going to be so much interest in it, and if it's available to the public. Now, think about this: if you could just put it into a little ricin, you know those like the pellet that they shot the dude with the umbrella, and they had ricin,
yeah,
just a way to inject, right? So,
yes.
You shoot your favorite celebrity. Oh, here's a great question. Okay, let's work on celebrities. So your celebrity, let's work obviously with celebrities you hate. So
Aaron Eckhart is on the list. Okay,
so yeah, you shoot him with what, and you get to pick what creature, and then when they have a kid, it's going to be half Charlie Sheen, half rat. Or I mean,
if it's half Charlie Sheen, isn't it already half rat?
That's probably true. Yeah. But yeah, so they have a kid, and all of a sudden their kid is, it's a form of biological terrorism. I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
or just a really sick joke. But yeah, if you could cross your favorite celebrity with an animal, I mean, let's say I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
The question is, where does the line between really sick joke and biological, the really sick joke end and biological terror begin? If you could just find that fine line and tiptoe across it,
Yeah. Yeah, or I mean, just ignore it.
Well, you know what infectious encephalitis is, right?
Yeah.
The disease makes your brain explode. I always kind of thought, oh, it's a great thing to bring up, I guess, when I thought I had Captain Trips for a few days. Because everywhere I went, people would start coughing. And I'm like, I'm bringing the plague. I'm bringing the plague. But I mean, like, if you were going to go and if you were bringing the plague, I would want it to be infectious encephalitis. Because it makes your brain swell until your head explodes. But since your brain feels no pain, it doesn't hurt. You just go nuts. You just become insane. And then you sneeze infectious insanity everywhere you go, right?
Okay.
Like, I guess that's still kind of tiptoeing towards the biological terror line. But, like, if you didn't know what you were doing, I think that might be the line between sick joke and biological terror.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty rough though.
Yeah, I mean,
Exploding
of course,
brains is a
like,
little bit harsh.
you gotta
Uh,
die for the joke, but I mean, like,
yeah, yeah,
if it's a good enough
you are the
joke, maybe it's
punchline.
worth dying for.
Well, I mean, biological. I mean, that would scare the hell out of people if you weaponized that and used it on the battlefield. That would, or people just mutated into something. I mean, you could turn a whole village of ISIS that taken over by ISIS into cats or rabbits.
Oh,
Something.
and well, they've already been working on race-based biological diseases,
No,
Like,
that's one
imagine
thing.
something that it's like a bath salt drug that you can aerosolize, but it only drives, Mediterraneans and Middle Easterners or people of sub-Saharan ancestry or
Right.
Asians or Europeans or Northern Europeans or Eastern, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you fractionalize it where it only drives these folks nuts and in a very specific way. Do you remember nodding disease in 1968?
Yeah. What was
In
up?
Uganda, these kids started like burning down villages and clawing people's eyes out. And there were rumors, there still are rumors that that could have been because it popped up once out of the blue in 1968 and didn't occur again in Uganda until right before, during the Coney 2012 shit. There was Coney 2012 and the bath salt zombies happening at the same time
Hmm.
about 50, 40, 44 years, about 45 years later. And it's like, I really sometimes wonder, was that nodding disease too? Was it a man-made virus at first, meant to be a zombie plague? And was the bath salts thing maybe the second outcropping of that? Like they were testing it again, seeing what progress they'd made.
That certainly, and you notice that there's some more and more of that. We just there's some video from Brazil that's going on where you got these people that are tweaked out using some sort of drug that are just whoa. But that was the first time that I was ever exposed to something like that. Was my brother put an article on the fridge uh, when I was a kid, and it said that HIV was a weapon. It was a man-made virus that was
Right.
meant to kill
Because SIV
blacks and
cannot
gays.
be contracted by humans, but HIV looks like Visna, a sheep immune virus, which could have been altered in a lab to affect humans. If you altered Visna in specific ways, there was a professor at Harvard who, by the way, after he wrote this long piece showing how you could turn Visna into HIV and how SIV could not be ever contracted by a human, well, needless to say, he doesn't work anymore.
No, that's a that's a little risque right there. I mean, especially if you're
you
proving
know?
it, man. That's harsh. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. For all the people that are listening in the labs right now, I know that we've got a lot of people in the labs that are just avid. They're piping all sorts of stuff in right now, and let's see those Bunsen burners going, and come on, get into your level 4 quarantine, have some action in there, have fun. If you're going to be doing that stuff, at least have a sense of humor about it. I mean, what else
What
can we
about
ask for? It's not
what
like
about
we
your
have
idea
control.
about the border wall? Like the two birds, one stone idea, how to deal with chemical weapons storage and find a cheap way to create a very effective, via word of mouth, border wall. Like they
Yeah,
step over the line and there's the chemical mine goes off and their
yeah.
face melts. But like each time somebody crosses, it's some new and different vicious chemical way to die. And then eventually, word
Yeah,
of mouth spreads. Dude, it looks like there's no wall, but there are horrors. There are horrors when you step across that line.
yeah. And you could, put people in masks and just take tours, make some money off of it. That would be like some sort of Disneyland. Take people on. Oh, you could do hunting trips, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you basically have a zone where you just set it aside as a freak preserve, but people can buy tags and go in and hunt down the mutants. What do you figure? Is that a little harsh? Is that funny?
I mean, like it's a little harsh, but it's also quite possibly our future. You know, I mean, like, have you not noticed how all these the 50s we had utopian sci-fi, but by the 60s and 70s it just became darker and darker. And a lot of these crazy things like cameras watching us always, and you know, like I mentioned Bitcoin to my mom, and then she gets like Bitcoin ads pop up, and you know, my little brother recommended some show in Messenger, and then she got a recommendation for it, and it's a comedy show, and she doesn't watch comedy. So Netflix does not think all of a sudden she watches comedy. No, Netflix was talking to Facebook and Google, and they were like, so, Barbara's son, you know, that's creepy.
Rough. I don't know, man. It's not a Brave New World. That's a little too sterile. I mean, Huxley's description is scary, but sterile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is juiced. This is going crazy. You know, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder if you know, you're gonna have countries like New Zealand. Maybe they're. I don't know if when you go there, they actually spray. They spray you. They walk through. They've got guys, and each one has a aerosol can, and they walk through and they spray you when you come into the country. I don't know if they're still doing that, but they were before, and that's why you know, maybe a country like that is going to be the last refuge, where there's just humans. You never know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, maybe. Hard to say. I mean, depends on how this stuff spreads. But yeah,
Bukowski was right. Irradiated men will eat the flesh of other irradiated men. I mean, like, that's there's definitely this breakdown in what was once called humanity. And whether you're religious or not, whether you want a family or not, you got to kind of notice. So you see, like, the last 150 years, there's this concentrated effort to destroy objectivity, to destroy religion, to break down the family, to break down any absolutes or values from the past. And that's, I mean, like, we're beginning to reap what we sowed there for 150 years. That's why 50 years ago, we had automatic weapons, and we didn't have school shootings and these random mass shootings every week. Why? Because we had families, and we had communities, and we had religion. And not everybody was religious, and not everybody had a family. But for the most part, we had these values and these absolutes and these shared, you know, beliefs and dreams. And as we break all that down and tear it apart, you know, this whole new world order will free us and liberate us from the past. And maybe it's not hope that's the last thing to fly out of that Pandora's box we're opening.
Yeah. Hope doesn't seem like the last thing. It wouldn't make sense. Yeah. I think it can get worse. I think it's you know, just I think the scariest thing is the attitude, the general, and how easy it is for everybody to adopt this. Over the period of one generation, the majority of people using an electronic a computer, a device that's connected to the internet, really don't care about security, and that's it. Just took one generation for that to happen. Most people, I'm surprised, even people that I've worked with before, they just gave up. It's just easier, just you know, doesn't matter. And if you can see that just over such a short period of time, what's going to happen with people's attitudes towards all of this biological and towards this. Well, they've got every right to do that, and they can turn themselves into this, or they can, as long as it's not affecting me, wait until people, wait until your bank account gets robbed or your town gets its electrical grid shut off by somebody. That's going to start to happen. And I happen to be in San Francisco when that did happen. And that town, I swear, will not last 2 days. It will not last 2 days without power. And oh man, is that just... And that was a hacker, and nobody wanted to admit it, but it was. There was no other feasible explanation for it, and the number of grids that were being shut down at the same time it was a simultaneous attack. It was a test attack, trying to see how that is going to affect, how chaos is going to affect American society in general. But even in a town of loving people, right? this harmonious, I guarantee you, last city that you would ever want to be in when the power goes out is San Francisco. Oh wow, that's a scary place. That is really, really scary because you got all the people that are going to be down south.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently on.
That will. Kind of like San Mateo County, that line is just going to be a wall. All those people in Burlingame, they're going to go up there and they're going to say, okay, let's just keep them where they are. We've got power. And then the Golden Gate and the Bay Bridge are going to get shut off. BART obviously isn't going to work. I mean, the only thing that might work is a boat, and there's a limited number of them. So when that peninsula shuts down by day 3, you're going to have looting that starts all the way in the Tenderloin. It's going to go through the Mission District, and then obviously it's going to spread up Market Street. Financial District is going to be closed. Anyone that didn't get off the peninsula is going to be hiding in the hills, literally Pacific Heights, Russian Hills, Nob Hill, those areas. There's going to be maybe some people in the Sunset. Scary thing is that nobody is allowed to have guns. So you're talking about the people who do have guns, which are illegal guns, which are people that are shooting each other in the city. The only gun owners in the city are criminals. Okay, so, and they're black. Okay, let's just not step around this whole profiling thing. 90% of these people are angry blacks who feel like they really don't have a problem shooting. Actually, in some cases, feel like they have the right to. And that you will see a murderous rampage. And once that happens, the people who are fleeing are going to be, or trying to flee, are going to be fighting each other. And the people in San Mateo, on the San Mateo line, they're going to be shooting back because they don't want this whole 900,000 million people on the peninsula rushing down. First people to die are the tourists. The hotels are going to go. The food stores are going to go. And I don't know how you would do it. There's not really... Golden Gate Park is pretty much the only place that you would be able to annex some sort of military operation. And then again, it's a good question. What would happen if the power went off in San Francisco for 3 weeks? I mean, how many people would die?
It's a nine meal rule. 48 to 72 hours, 6 to 9 meals lost without power is all it takes to destroy the infrastructure to the extent that if the riots continued, you couldn't fix it and it would only get worse. Hey, Burdock, I'm going to cut out here.
Yes, sir.
So that Redfoot can get on the call.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's only able to take the one at a time. I needed to rest my voice anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
From the Goldwater gang, everybody listening. Thanks so much for having me again. And until next week.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. We appreciate it, as always.
Okay, great.
Just wishing you the very best. Always a pleasure to have him on the show. He's just
great. Same here.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can't get Redfoot on the line here. And in the meantime, just stomp on those centipedes if you're coughing them up, and see if you can't get a couple of samples, and we'll write an article or two about whatever you're coughing up. It's better. It's better in the Philippines. No, it is scary though when you get on a plane and you're mixing with all of this, in this can, and there's recirculated air. I mean, that's not something I would think. Actually,
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
That would be an interesting concept. If now, see, that's where you would really get into some arguments. Is if first class, if you started offering first class cabins with its own oxygen supply. Yeah. And everybody else says, well, my air is not good enough. What's wrong with my air? Yeah, you got to pony up if you want air. Otherwise, you're going to get, and of course, you get people, the airlines would probably disease, coach. So, force them to pay. Yeah. Turn the screws on them if you want to breathe. Yeah, I mean, you could sell air. Yeah, fresh air class. Yeah. Either that or just have a quarantine section. A la carte. You want to, yeah. Yeah.
The person who
Yeah. Yeah, swipe your card. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would do it. I mean, what's that? Oh, that was a scary, some of the scariest footage I've ever seen on a, was it a Greek airliner where the air traffic's calling, and these guys are flying over the Med somewhere, and Helios Air, I think that was the name of the. Yeah, let's talk a little bit of airline disaster here. Like that's one of my. We're just mixing it up here because I know a lot of you folks are traveling for Christmas. We always like to, around this time of year, highlight some air disasters. So when you land, you're going to be feeling a lot better about things. So Helios crash. I'm pretty sure that was the name of the airline. But this is one of the craziest things. It also happened to Payne Stewart, the golfer. It happened to his plane. Slowly kind of depressurized. This is flight 522. Now, I don't know. I've got Redfoot calling me on Skype. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to join that. I'm not joining on that because I'm on a different system here, so not going to be able to hook up. But yeah, let's go. Let's talk about Flight 22 for those folks that are, traveling this holiday season. Interesting crash. In that nobody survived, and it's obviously that 121 people died. And this flight was from Cyprus to Athens back in 2005. And what had happened was that the plane was on autopilot, and they just the flight was supposed to check in, and air traffic control checked in with them, and nobody was responding back. And so they sent out a jet, and there's actually video of this where this Helios plane, it's just flying over the Mediterranean, and there's nobody moving. In fact, people seem like their heads are everybody seems like they're asleep. And so they just assumed that pretty much everybody succumbed to hypoxia, which is there was what appeared to be a depressurization, but a slow depressurization of the cabin, or just loss of oxygen. And one of the most amazing parts about this story is that there was who they do believe was a flight attendant who managed to get a bottle of oxygen, and at the time that this jet was flying up, and he was signaling this military jet, I think it was a Greek fighter jet, to freaking out, wasn't able to operate they were trying to give him instructions, but by the time he could get his act together, he ran out of oxygen and could not save the day, was not able to save the day. All 120 people crashed, but the plane just ran out of fuel and just crashed. So really interesting in that the planes can actually do that. So for you people that are flying this Christmas season, maybe you might not want to fall asleep, because that can happen. I know this is mean. I'm scaring people that don't have a fear of flying, but there is a massive number of. This is going to be the busiest holiday season for decades. People simply have more money in their pockets, so they're able to travel. We saw that on Thanksgiving. Thank you, Donald Trump. Okay, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we don't like that guy because he's part of some new world." The bottom line is that he's made some sound decisions that were good for the economy. Give him credit for that. I don't care if he's half lizard or if he's, I'm not sure whatever else is going on, whatever bad motives he's got. He did do something over a short period of time that was really good for the economy. And so as a result, I think that less people will probably be committing suicide this year. There's probably, now less people, and there was a pain going, traveling. If any of you all were traveling over Thanksgiving, wow, that was just terrible. In fact, one person that was coming couldn't make it because the traffic was just backed up. This was in California. Backed up. So the person just turned around and drove home, gave up. But in a sense, that's good. It is good it's a good sign. And the one thing that I learned this way back in the 80s, and I've been looking at this every year, and it turns out that this is one of the most accurate economic indicators ever devised. It's called the wrapping paper index. And what it does is throughout this period of time, December, it's a calculation of the simple number of square yards of wrapping paper that are being sold. And that is a direct indicator of how healthy the economy is, simply because more gifts. So I think you'll see that. This is going to be a record year for everyone. And just being grateful that there's enough money that's going around. I know a lot of people are having it tough, but hopefully there's a little more charity this year. I know people should be giving more. Let's see what all these extremely wealthy progressives who are buying Lamborghinis and doing all of this stuff, and in the name of being progressive, and all of their tech companies are going through the roof right now, and they're just decrying and hating their president, yet they're enjoying the fruits of the economy that he's certainly had a tremendous part in. Let's see how giving they are this year. I really do want to see that, because a lot of these folks are hypocrites, especially when it comes to money. And here's one that I just saw. I don't think we didn't even have a chance to write about it, but let me see if I can pick this up off of. This one really surprised me, and we're gonna probably just go with this is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, the new guy that's come in, and he is arresting all of these corrupt people, and there are all these billionaires, and he's keeping them at it was the Four Seasons, I think. That's turned into a prison, and so that's what's occurring over there. And a lot of us were thinking, wow, that's kind of cool. That's really refreshing. Here's a guy, and he's also in several statements said, lay off this whole thing. You're a billionaire. This excessive behavior is enough is enough. And me personally, it's like, well, I'm kind of split on that one, because if it's anyone's money, you should spend it. Spend it by all means. If you've got $80 billion, go spend it, Mr. Bezos, or 100, I guess. So spend it. But on the other hand, the amount of excess is happening. It's just insane. So let's flash back to 2013 in France, where there's this really large estate that's outside of Paris that is this just massive. It's actually I think it's further south. I think it's closer to, well, it's south of Provence, near Provence. A massive estate. It was touted at the time as being the most expensive house in the world, topped in at like $300 million. And it just took somebody over at Forbes, I believe, that many years, 3 or 4 years now, to figure out that it's the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia that owns this place. The most expensive house, well, at the time in the world. $300 million house. Excessive. I really think so. We'll see what happens with all of these progressives that we're sitting, ruining public parks in San Francisco while they were sitting in cursing the one percenters for driving Lamborghinis, and now, just a couple years later, they're driving around in the excess of things that are happening in San Francisco. These people are just being really, really quiet about it. Very, very quiet, because that must be really lame to come across all this money, to have these investments that are doing so well, and to kind of maybe have some guilt over the fact that the person you hate so much is mostly responsible for the growing of the wealth in the economy itself. And at the same time, it's like you're not supposed to have that much money, but damn, it must feel good to fly first class or have your own jet. So these people are simply creeping into this kind of pseudo Mark Zuckerberg, Bezos wannabe kind of factor, where it's just, how insane do you have to be? I don't know. These folks, it's just absolute insanity that there's got to be this mental break, or otherwise they just don't give a damn. They must just not give a damn. I'm just trying to justify how you can be preaching progressivism and hatred towards your president when the real life situation around you, especially at the end of the year, Christmas, the time of giving, and the time of being thankful, having gone through that, how you can continue this absolute assault. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me. And none of this should, I guess. This embracing of things that just make absolutely no sense. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. So one thing makes sense to us. Christmas is Christmas, okay, here at the Goldwater. And I want to tell you that we've been doing this for about a year now. And we want to thank everybody. We wanted to make sure and thank everybody at Thanksgiving. But also, this is a time of year where we just want to be grateful and thank all of the folks at Christmas, and Christians and Jews and everybody alike. I want to especially wish a Merry Christmas to all of those folks who are celebrating Kwanzaa, okay? We're going to make sure you've got a Merry Christmas, and all you Jews out there, we want a Merry Christmas to you too. Merry Christmas to all you agnostic and atheists and all the folks. I mean, And in fact, you know, a lot of, you'd be surprised, the mix of folks over here at the Goldwater, we got everybody. Just because you don't believe in God doesn't mean you can't celebrate Christmas. You know, that's you can celebrate that. You can be nice to people, give gifts, and I mean, I'll tell you what. We don't have a real tree back here. Obviously, there are very few pine trees to cut down here. But I'll tell you what, it's nice. It's really nice seeing this over here, and it's nice seeing everybody get into the spirit. I'm, you know, I think it's looking forward to. It's been a long haul since September, you know. Looking forward to that music stopping sometime after Christmas. But I have to admit, I am getting in the spirit, and we wanted to just thank everybody. So with that, we're going to just cut it off just a couple minutes early here. And in all sincerity, hypoxia jokes aside, we wish everybody a safe and happy, Merry Christmas. This is Major James Burdock signing off for the Goldwater. Oh, we need to hang on one sec. I forgot to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Redfoot, who wasn't able to call in. Sorry, we were having some issues with that. We'll try to figure that out later, and hopefully we've got a lot of stuff to do with Redfoot this week. Lots of stuff. This is the first week that actually I've had, that a lot of folks here have had, to really get back to things. So if you do have something that needs to get done in my neighborhood, it is going to get done this week. Some of the extra new stuff that we're bringing on. So Redfoot, we appreciate your patience with that, and we'll be getting that done. For everybody that was curious about Redfoot, and if you want to really dig deep into it, go to labvirus.com. That's labvirus.com. That's where you will find the rabbit hole, and it is really a fascinating site. We look forward to talking to him very soon. Also want to thank Dr. A. Truott and all the crew over there. We had a great couple of shows, and we're going to make sure that we've got all of these back on. We want to get them on our audio on, so all of these shows are actually looping. So I just want to thank Dr. A. Truott, and we always will appreciate being able to simulcast with him. If you're on the east or the west coast, you can reach him Friday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. So having said that, again, Merry Christmas from the Goldwater. Major Burdock signing off.